ينظرون جميعا كيف أبني قواعد المجد وحدي وبناة الأهرام في سالف الدهر كفون كلام التحدي أنا تاج العلاء
the crown of glory
فرائض
and
من جديد
once more
السلام عليكم.
In the name of Allah, peace be upon you.
حاجة جميلة جدا جدا وأنا طبعا هيبقى ليا لقاء أتكلم فيه.
I will talk about this in an interview, but first of all I would like to thank you for the efforts exerted and the big role played by Suez Canal Authority and all its elements. It was something that proved large capabilities and expertise, and in fact the performance was very important. And I was so proud of it. I was following up everything at timings, maybe at even 4 a.m. I would ask him how are things going on, but I was reassured that thank God everything would get back normal. And if we can call it a crisis, this crisis emphasize something that we did not want it, of course, to happen, but it's fate. And this emphasized and paid the attention of the great importance of Suez Canal that has been there for 160 years. 150 or even 160 years, Suez Canal has been there as part of world trade and industry.
في ظل الكلام اللي بيتقال كتير عن
So in light of everything that is said about alternatives, Suez Canal here is emphasizing its importance. It is a world waterway for international trade
الصناعة ديت في العالم كله.
that plays an important role. 12% of the world trade passes through Suez Canal. So I just wanted to say maybe there is something good here. There is a silver lining in every cloud, and it is showing the importance of Suez Canal. And if we would have a problem, we will talk about the efforts exerted by Egypt in developing Suez Canal and navigation in it. We are connecting the Mediterranean to the Red Sea.
احنا مش بنقول هنعمل، احنا هنفتتح خلاص.
And we are going to inaugurate something in this context. Please be seated.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah.
من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما
There are men who are keeping their promises and pledges. Some of them died and some of them are waiting, and they did not change their oath and pledge. Your Excellency President Abdel el-Sisi, the President of the Republic and the highest commander of the armed forces, Your Excellency Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, Mr. Mohammed Zaki, the Minister of Defense and military production, on behalf of myself and on behalf of all the staff of Suez Canal Authority, we are glad and honored to receive you on the back of Suez Canal, the channel of good that contributes to world trademark and provides the supply chain and its continuity all over the world. Today we are honored that you are here amongst your sons who worked day and night for navigation to get back to normal in one of the most important waterways all over the world. Your Excellency the President, your support and your keenness on communication hour by hour with the efforts of dislodging never given, and this was the support that has supported us in achieving this unprecedented achievement, and it was a motivation to all those who participated in it to continue their role until we succeeded. Without the great efforts exerted, we cannot forget the support and the assistance and the follow-up that we found on part of all ministries. Thank you, Mr. Mustafa Madbouli, the Prime Minister of Egypt, for following up all the acts, as well as the Minister of Defense who said that the military is ready to support us in addition to all other ministries. Your Excellency the President, the implementation of this mission and reopening the water before the world navigation wouldn't have been achieved except through strong resistance and determination, and this national legend would be a great milestone in the history of Suez Canal over 150 years, and this shows how exceptional the situation was and the crisis, despite the fact that the vessel is 400 meters in length, which is the length of 4 football playgrounds. And the width of the vessel is 59 meters with 240,000 tons weight on it and 1,350 containers on it with a height of 52 meters. Since the first moment when it wedged in the waterway, we started putting a number of scenarios to deal with this crisis, and the scenarios were as following. This is the video showing you how the vessel wedged. It hit the left bank and then the right bank, and then it wedged, as you will see now before you. This is how it was wedged, and it went there for 6 days. The volume of difficulties we faced in implementing this mission was because of the length of the vessel, 400 meters, and the height of the containers, 52 meters, 240,000 tons the weight, and 18,000 containers in addition to the bad weather during the first 3 or 4 days. The weather was very bad, be it due to the wind or sand, in addition to the tide that was very high, and sometimes was an obstacle in solving the problem. Sometimes we were waiting for the tide, but with tide there was an opposition current, and sometimes there was supportive current. I am saying that this vessel has a very complex and complicated accident, and it was very difficult to solve this problem due to the nature of the soil in Suez. It is a rocky soil to an extent, that's why digging around it and refloating it was difficult. The procedures for urgent intervention, once the incident happened, we changed the timings of all the convoys, because of course it closed the waterway. So there were 12 ships in front of it, they were able to pass, and there were 37 ships waiting for it, and we kept them in the tank. From the north we allowed 30 ships to stand and wait in the lakes, maybe we were able to solve the problem. So the first thing is that we changed the times of the convoys. Of course we had a rescue team in the authority to start pulling the vessel to refloat it and to see how it is wedged and on what is it standing. We found that it was standing on 2 rocks in the front and the bottom, and this was very dangerous for a ship with this weight and this volume. With pulling it, it could have been broken or it would have rifts. We took into consideration all these things when we were rescuing it. We formed an operation team on the 5th of March, Thursday, and we developed a plan for 3 scenarios to pull and push and also to dig the sand around it in order to move the water underneath so that there would be depth in the front and the end. And the third scenario was dislodging it, but it would have been very costly and it would have taken more time, so we did not prefer this scenario. The President told me, do you have the equipment and the machineries for these 3 tools? I said yes, we have for all the scenarios, but we do not have the tools and machinery for the 3rd scenario. He told me you should provide it, and we did the orders, and we have contracted to bring the boats in which we would have been dislodging the container, and we're praying every day that we won't have to go to this scenario, and thank God we did not have to do it. On day 2, after digging, we used to do a survey to see the change in the soil and the depth beneath the vessel. And we did digging for 8 meters. The depth in the bottom and the front was 8 meters to 5 meters. So started digging with the 10th of Ramadan digging machine, because we were waiting to see what would be its behavior. It gave us depth up till 8 meters. We did not find that this is enough. So, and it broke the rock, so we started doing engineering works from the soil by removing the sand in front of it, and then we did not want the bank to collapse all, because the depth was 12 meters, and we started removing the sand from the boat, and you can see here the vessel standing. On Friday the 26th of March we started using another digging machine, Mashrut, and then we were able to release the anchor of the vessel, and this was a very positive thing because this gave us hope that what you're doing is correct. After the anchor was not moving at all, we were able to move it 30 degrees to the right, 30 degrees to the left, and also the wheel started to move to the right and left, and this was supportive. On Saturday we removed the iron curtains that it has broken, and it would have prevented us from digging underneath it. So we removed it because even if the vessel would have been refloated, then these iron curtains would have broken the vessel, and we were doing so also to increase the ability to dig. We have dug up till 29,000 cubic meters, and you can see here the space between Mashhur and the vessel, and this is very dangerous, but people were so keen on reaching the biggest depth underneath the vessel and digging it so that we would be able to finish on time. On Monday we went on with the digging and pulling. We were using 15 engines on both sides and tugboats in addition to 2 digging machines. Of course, we have 2 new engines that were launched out of 4 engines in Port Said Arsenal, and they did not operate yet. They were just ready, and we do their Xmas, so 2 of them joined us and started working with us, and this shows that the arsenals we have are suitable, and the Egyptians can produce this that can do it, and this was the first experience for them to do the pulling and the pushing. On the 6th day we were able to refloat it. This happened at 4:30 a.m. We were able to move its rear, and the space between it and the bank was 4 meters, so it reached 28 meters, but the beginning of it was still there, although we have dug a lot of sand. This was the time of tide, so we have waited, and we said that the tide would come back at 11:30 to do the pulling and pushing. We were using the engines for half a day and the digging machine, because with tide the pulling and pushing would not be valuable, so in the tide we used to do this. So we waited until 11:30 with the tide to start again pulling and pushing, and by 3:30 p.m. we were able to refloat the vessel. There are a lot of lessons learned here, of course, and the president used to tell me what are the lessons learned. Of course, there are a lot of lessons learned here. We have all the units and we are developing them. We have the dredgers. We have 2 new dredgers. The first would arrive next April, coming from Netherlands. It would be the biggest capacity in dredging. And the second is Hussein Tantawi dredger that would arrive next August. And we have 4 engines in Port Said, and they were tested. There are other 5 engines that are manufactured by Johanso company in China, and we will manufacture 3 here in our arsenals. And we want to increase the capacities of these dredgers and engines. For the pulling capacity, we have 160 tons. So we want the engines to be for 250 tons or 300 tons to deal with the new shape of the vessels and the big sizes and volumes of the new vessels. Your Excellency, the President, this mission has proved the cumulative experience and capabilities in Suez Canal Authority that make it safer, less cost and higher in economy of navigation, and the least number of incidents. We had 18,000 vessels that passed last year, so when we see 1 accident, then it is just 0%. So it should not worry us that there is this incident. And people might say the new Suez Canal. I would say I wish that this happened in the new Suez Canal. We wouldn't have been a problem, but this happened in the old Suez Canal where there is no double lanes. For the first time we are able to refloat this wedged ship with 250,000 tons in weight, and could have waited for weeks to dislodge it. They have never in the world been able to refloat a ship with 18,000 containers on it, and the vessel was not open. Nothing happened to the vessel, and it was able to move with its machines, and it went to the lakes with our tugboats. So we were working professionally with the support of God, and we were successful without damaging the vessel itself or damaging Suez Canal or its bottom. And on the same day, this vessel reached the lakes at 6 p.m. and then our convoy started moving. 48 hours before, we have prepared our tables, and every guide knew which vessel he would go, which tugboat he would take, and I planned to finish in 3 or 4 days and not 6 days, but we were able to do it in 6 days. So when we refloated the vessel, all guides were there on the boats. Even 3 hours before the movement of the boats, each captain and each guide was on his boat, so it did not take us time for other vessels to start moving. Starting 6 p.m. up till 8 a.m. this morning, 113 vessels have navigated, and by 12 a.m. today we'll have 45 boats. And we promised all agents that we'd solve this problem as quickly as possible. This is another challenge that we work day and night. The canal is working day and night to help the navigation of these vessels. Since the beginning of it, you have given us directives not to wait and purchase all the machineries needed for the 3 scenarios suggested to deal with this, and this is in line with the strategy of the Authority 2023. This mission has proved no doubt the strategic importance of Suez Canal. Despite what is mentioned sometimes that there are other alternative waterways for Suez Canal, this proved that waterway is the least cost, the more secured waterway, and is supportive to international. Although there was 422 different types of vessels in the northern and southern waiting areas in Suez Canal, they have waited for 6 days without changing their path to other alternatives. And this shows that world shipping companies believe in the capability of Suez Canal Authority in dealing with any incident, and building upon this success with Egyptian hands and Egyptian experience in Suez Canal Authority, were able to deal with this, and we pledged to work round the clock to deal with all the waiting ships and vessels in Suez Canal, and this happened. And I think that by 3 or 4 days we would be able to make all the ships and vessels waiting in Suez Canal leave the canal, and we started receiving the first 113 vessels, and they started to cross the vessel. And this is a great achievement that cannot be done except by Suez Canal Authority that has well-trained, skilled workers and staff. And in this context, I would like to express deep thanks and appreciation to those who are contributing to this challenge and exceeds the normal human capabilities. So here are the Egyptians, the heroes. You have always pinned hopes on your capabilities and love to their country and their desire to make it the mother of the world and equal to the whole world. And the happiness of the Egyptian is always related to Suez Canal. Egypt was so happy for achieving this accomplishment, and this reminds us when you announced for digging the new Suez Canal, and Suez Canal has always been a source of pride for the Egyptians, and Egypt, the country that is capable of overcoming all challenges and difficulties. No doubt there are important lessons learned from this crisis, as well as the implementation of the rescue efforts. We are always supporting and developing the fleet of the Suez Canal Authority, be it through dredging barges, engines, or tugboats, and we are following up the top-notch developments and the digitization in the authority is taking place in addition to developing the waterway to keep pace with all the recent developments and the gigantic vessels that are being manufactured now, in addition to different types of vessels and ships that go through this waterway, and it is able to assimilate 52% of the different types of vessels and ships all over the world, and this distinguishes Suez Canal from other waterways. Suez Canal would go on playing its unique role in serving the world trade as well as receiving vessels of different types, generations and kinds and volumes, and we have guides, monitoring towers and all capabilities that would achieve safe navigation for all vessels. We have vessels that pass through the Suez Canal every day, and they are even bigger than ever given. Al-Janiris HMM has passed through Suez Canal with 240 tons and length of 400 meters and the width of 116 meters. So it was even bigger than Evergreen that has wedged in Suez Canal. This happened in May 2020, and this ship that has wedged has been navigating through Suez Canal before, and of course investigations will take place to identify the reason for these accidents and incidents, and in such accidents usually there are multiple reasons, and of course we will benefit from these investigations to build the capabilities of Suez Canal Authority. Your Excellency the President, this showed the value of the Egyptian, as every crisis makes him more determined and more challenging. This person who believed in the wisdom of his leadership and its ability to take him to the safe shore and to create a better future for the coming generations. Deep thanks and appreciation to Your Excellency, as you were the key to the success and the key word in everything that was achieved, and this is considered by the whole world to be a new achievement added to the achievements made by the Egyptians, especially on the bank of the Suez Canal. The President, on the first day when he talked to me asking me about what happened, he told me this is the reputation of Egypt, and of course I told the people in Suez Canal that this is the reputation of Egypt, and I told him the President is saying so they worked day and night to achieve this achievement in this short time. World news agencies said that if this vessel is to be refloated, it would take 3 months. Your Excellency the President, at the end we pledge before you all to go on working so that Suez Canal Authority would be this edifice and symbol of determination and persistence. Thank you, and peace be upon you.
بس فرصة طارق لو سمحت.
Give me just the opportunity to say something in the name of Allah once more. I would like to extend thanks and appreciation to you all.
يعني نحيي
and let us greet
الهيئة والعاملين
Suez Canal Authority, its staff,
شاركت معنا
and all the entities that worked on us with us on putting an end to this crisis in this way, and with the least amount of losses, thank God, despite the fact that the vessel and the crisis was big. Yet thank God, no losses, no casualties, no damage to the body of the vessel, no damage to the containers on it. So let us send our greetings and thanks to Suez Canal Authority, starting with its chairman up till the junior staff. Let us thank them all.
اسمحوا لي برضو ان انا هنا
يعني us also here seize this opportunity to say
في ملحوظة مهمة قوي
that there is a very important remark
بتلفت نظري دايما
that always
وبتطمني قوي
pays my attention and reassures me.
رد فعل الناس في
It is the reaction of people in Egypt.
صحيح كل الأشقاء وكل الأصدقاء
all the friends
للجهد
We're supportive to our effort, and different countries were ready to help and support us, and this is fully appreciated by those who offered assistance and support.
شقائنا يعني في الخليج أو حتى
be it our brothers in the Gulf, in the Arab region, or our friends all over the world. We would like to thank them all. Deep thanks and appreciation to them all for their support. But I will talk about the Egyptians themselves. The Egyptians who were following up silently what was going on.
ابنهم كلهم يعني حاجة خاصة بيهم كلهم.
As if this is something that affects them all. So they were supporting silently. They were all praying, wishing, following up silently. And once the crisis came to an end, thanks to God and thanks to your effort, you have seen the reaction on Facebook, social networks and media. And this shows to what extent Egyptians love their country. Despite the difficult conditions, despite the problems in their country, they love it. They love their country and are keen on its stability, peace and security. That's why all over all the past years, despite the difficult conditions we've been through and the challenges we faced and will face us in the future, the Egyptians have always been supportive to their country. They were always beside their country, their leadership. They would be patient during the crisis. When the crisis comes to an end safely, they express their happiness. So this is something that has always paid my attention.
مش عايز اطول عليكم في الكلام عشان بقية اليوم وعشان انتوا كمان.
I do not want to be lengthy because of course you are so tired by and exhausted by now.
ان شاء الله تخلصوا يعني المرور بقية الوحدات او السفن.
And you still have other things to do until you support the other convoys and vessels to go through Suez Canal. I just wanted to say that these are the Egyptians who love their country and are keen on it. That's why Egypt is one of the countries that maybe could have been in different conditions, but through the awareness, the love of the Egyptians, all the Egyptians, the result, thanks to God, was that always we were able to go through this crisis. I'm not only talking about this crisis, but I'm talking about the crisis Egypt has been through over the past 7 or 8 years. As the chairman of Suez Canal Authority said, that we need here to learn lessons from this crisis. And if you have certain machineries, equipments that you need, we can provide them. Over the past 3 or 4 years, when we have seen the big dredgers or the big engines, we used to say, since this is for the interest of work, we will provide it despite the cost. The dredgers are gigantic dredgers that would increase the capability of Suez Canal Authority to deal with this, and the same applies to engines and locomotives. So I would like to tell the staff of authority that all the things you need to be in line with the developments taking place, and if you need other machines, Dr. Mustafa, we will contract immediately and purchase whatever they need. Once more, I would like to thank you. My greetings and appreciation to you all, and I wish that you would send my greetings to all the staff of Suez Canal Authority, and may God always support you, protect Suez Canal, and you protect you all. Thank you very much. and simulator of fighting pollution to train our guides in Suez Canal. This center was established in 1995 and started operating in 1996. In the beginning it has a simulator, and with the development of the dimensions and the weight of the vessels, we brought a more developed simulator in 2020, provided with the most recent systems of simulation all over the world, according to specifications of IMO, International Maritime Organization, and the International DNV classes. These are the simulators on which we train the new guides how to guide the vessels and the ships in the canal, and also we raise the capabilities of the old guys. We have also the engine or the locomotive simulator, and this helps moving the vessels in Suez Canal in case there is any wedging like what happened last week. Then the boats and the locomotives would be able to pull and push them, and there is also the simulator that can deal with any oil spill in Suez Canal or any of its lakes, and then we can control this oil spill. We are developing now the electronic map simulator for all the ships and vessels. They are provided now with the electronic maps system ECDIS, and it will be inaugurated in 2 months in the center. And there is also the dredger simulator that would arrive in the center once Mohab Mamish dredger arrives next month. And we have also the simulator of the machine room, so that they can deal with any repair that would be needed in the generators and in the engine room of the vessel. Engineer Sabri Nasr, the head of the maritime and training and simulator system. We have here the simulator of fighting oil spills and pollution. We are training here the technicians who fight oil spills and pollution. This is a scenario, and this is a scenario for an oil spill that had leaked from one of the ships at the southern entry point of Suez Canal, and we have naval units that take these rubber obstacles, and we have a program that enables us to forecast using maps. We can predict whether the oil spill would move in 1 or 2 hours and where would it head. And we can see here the map, the oil spill in black, and we can identify the points in electricity plant of Abu Sultan. We consider this plant to be a sensitive area, so after 2 hours we can identify where the oil spill would be. Maybe it can move towards Abu Sultan plant. So I'm trying here to control this oil spill before it reaches this sensitive point through using the anti-pollution units and erase this oil spill before it reaches a sensitive point. Thank you. Said Mohammed Dawood, a senior guide in Suez Canal Authority. Here in the center, we provide training to all of the junior guides so that they can guide the vessels and the ships, and we build their capacities. And we have simulation programs for the mega containers. In addition to that, for some vessels and ships that go through the Suez Canal, sometimes they send their guides so that they would know about Suez Canal and how they can cooperate with the guide for a safe navigation of the vessel in Suez Canal. We are here in the simulation room. We are simulating the crew room on a ship. You can see here the meters and everything is exactly like what's on the ship. It has the most modern simulation rooms in the world. We are here on a ship of 222 meters length in Port Said, the northern entry point. We will try to do some scenarios that show the simulation. In addition to that, how we train the guides. So we'll do run. Now the guide here can see the radar, the maps, the meters, and we teach them how to use them and how to get the vessel in the middle of the Suez Canal. And we can do different scenarios. We can do late. You can turn this to day or night because Suez Canal works both day and night. So there is a training for navigation at night. The guide is trained how to use the maps, how to use the radar at night to lead the vessel and the ship through Suez Canal. We will make fog. Let's press fog now in case of fog because sometimes it is foggy in Suez Canal. So we train the guide through this simulator on dealing with fog. So that the ship can pass safely. And we have also the mode of sandstorm. For sandstorm, the sandstorm is even more challenging than the fog because the particles of the sand can prevent the vessel from seeing well. So this is a challenge, and we train the guides on dealing with it so that he can control the ship or the vessel and make it pass safely through the Suez Canal. Our guides go 25 kilometers outside Port Said to bring the vessels, so we need to show them simulation of everything that happens so that they would be in the same circumstances and get used through the simulator to what they will face on the ground. Now we are in an open sea and we will see the waves and the wind to train the guide on everything he will face in sea. He can see here the wind speed, the waves height, and in this simulator I can put him in the scenario that he will face in reality. Let's get back to normal. Now we'll see a scenario of what happened to ever given ship. The simulation of ever given. We'll show you now a brief incident of ever given.
طبعا الظروف الجويه كانت ليها
The weather
سرعه الريح عاليه جدا.
on that day was difficult. The wind was 35 to 40 knots.
المركب دي الوينش اريا بتاعتها
And the winch area subject to wind was 17,000 meters. So of course any extra wind influences it directly. We are now on the vessel. Let's press run. This is Ever Given, and we are behind Ever Given to see what happened exactly to it. For us, we are here in the middle of the canal exactly. As you can see that the rear of the vessel is more to the west due to the wind.
هتبتدي بقى البروة المؤخر بيجي ناحية البنك.
The rear is moving towards the bank, so when he came closer to the bank, in half a minute he will come close to the bank, so it will move very quickly out of control. Once it goes to the right, for this type of ships, we have been receiving such vessels and ships for 10 years. But here, as you can see, it came to the right, and it will get out of control. It's turning round here and going to the east. When he saw this, due to the back current, that increased the speed of the ship. So with this speed, it hit the bank strongly. And thank God its anchor was safe and its wheel was safe. One of the things that led to wedging this vessel is with the wind 40 knots, and this area is the narrowest, but after the lakes it's wider. And Captain Hosam will explain to you. Here in the simulator we make scenarios to help the guide take right decisions. Here we do simulation for a decision to be made, and we here make a plan for refloating the boat. We in high waters, and we have put 4 locomotives, and on the other side 2 locomotives that are pulling to east north, and 2 locomotives Long Live Egypt 1 and Long Live Egypt 2 that are pulling as well. This is during the high water, but during the tide we have a dredger called Mashur, and another 10th of Ramadan they were dredging in the northern part. So they would move the bottom beneath the vessel, and again the vessel would get in the middle of the channel. Our expectation was this vessel might be having a problem with its equipment after floating it. So we have prepared our tugboats and our locomotives to pull the ship after it, and we did it, but we found that there is no problem with the engine, but our pulleys were connected to the vessel in case there is a problem with its engine. We have been watching it by cameras to see whether it is capable of moving or not. And there is a locomotive here that plays the role of the helm, and it was there to pull the ship up till the lake area. The simulator here plays a lot of scenarios for training, for analyzing incidents and accidents. In fact, we put all the probabilities and the possibilities here in the simulator, and sometimes it can make it difficult, easier. Thank you very much.
تحيا وعيونها تملي صاحية، وعيونها في كل ناحية وفي مليون اتجاه. تحيا مصر حرة، تحيا ألف مرة، تحيا مهما يجرى لنهاية الحياة.
مصر بجد اللي ما شافهاش يبقى حياته لسه ما عاشهاش. مصر الحارة كان العبارة قضية سلم طول الليل. مصر الشاب الجدع الشاب بنت التربية دي مصر اللي بجد.
في مصر تروح في أي مكان،
في ناس مختلفة في الألوان،
لكن نفس الطباع بالظبط.
وفي الحكاية بقى قاعد شيخ
في تشهيق وشه تقرا تاريخ،
بيخبط جوه قلبك خبط.
بنصلي جمعة وقداس حد، وهي دي مصر اللي بجد.
مشاهدينا الكرام، لازلنا مع حضراتكم في
We are still waiting for the arrival of the president to this press conference
الذي يحضره وسائل
that is attended by national and international news agencies, and I can see now.
خلال فترة الأزمة ما نضغطش على العاملين في إدارة الأزمة وتركناهم يعملوا حتى تنتهي الأزمة، لكن كنا مهم نكون موجودين النهارده عشان نأكد على إن زي ما انتم شايفين كده الملاحة رجعت
navigation is back to normal in Suez Canal with the same efficiency
يمكن أكتر من قبل الأزمة
and even more than before the crisis.
Good afternoon. I welcome you all today. I just want to reiterate that we had to be here today. We were very keen post the crisis to be present today, and we were also keen at the beginning not to make pressure on the workers and the staff working in the Suez Canal during the crisis. However, we came today in order to make sure that the navigation has been retained and all the boats are on the move once again in the Suez waterway.
خليني اقول ان انا برضو قبل ما ابدا اعطي الفرصه لحضراتكم ان انتوا تسالوا اسئله على يعني امكم انتوا تحبوا تسالوا فيها، ان احنا نوجه كل التحيه وكل التقدير والاحترام والاعتزاز كمان بالعاملين الهيئه وبالجهد الكبير اللي اتبذل خلال الست ايام اللي فاتوا دول حتى تنتهي هذه الازمه باقل قدر من الخسائر، سواء كان في السفينة أو في الأرواح اللي موجودة، ثم كمان أيضا في السفن اللي كانت موجودة سواء كان في مدخل الجنوبي للقناة أو المدخل الشمالي أو حتى اللي كانوا موجودين في البحيرة. فأنا بشكر العاملين واللي أداروا الأزمة بكفاءة من أول يمكن رئيس الهيئة ثم زي ما قلت قبل كده حتى أصغر العاملين اللي اشتركوا في هذه المهمة. بشكرهم مرة تانية باسم كل المصريين، وبأكد لكم أو من خلال تواجدنا النهارده إن إحنا لدينا إدارة وفريق عمل في هيئة قناة السويس بيتمثل خبرات تعود أكثر من 150 سنة. 150 سنة في إدارة هذه القناة، تطوراتها وتطور حركة بناء السفن والتجارة العالمية، وهي بتعمل بكفاءة عادة في التوقيتات اللي يمكن حصل فيها بعض الأزمات هنا في مصر زي سنة 56 أو 67. ولكن على مدار هذه السنين قامت قناة السويس بدور رائع وعظيم في نقل التجارة العالمية. احنا بننقل تقريبا ما يقرب من 12%.
Before I give the floor to you to pose questions, I would like to express my sincere thanks and appreciation and respect to all the staff working in the authority of Suez Canal. I would like to thank them for the enormous effort that they have exerted until the crisis has been faded away, with the minimum losses, whether in the vessels or the souls. So there had been no casualties, and I was very keen on the safety of the vessels, especially in the northern and the southern section of the Suez Canal. I confirm and I affirm my thanks for the team and for the chairman of the Authority of Suez Canal, and up down to all the staff for the efficiency they have shown in the crisis management. I would like to thank them on my behalf, in my name and on behalf of the Egyptians. I confirm once again that we have a management and a teamwork who enjoy vast experience that extended to 150 years in the management of the canal. The canal has attested different and various developments, including vessels building and in the field of the world trade. We have witnessed many crises starting of 1956 and 1967. However, the Suez Canal Authority had showed the best example in the management crisis, and it played great role in the transfer of the world trade. As you know, the 12% of the world trade passes through the waterway of the Suez Canal.
مش هيفوتني حاضر اديني بس فرصة
I would
أكمل.
like
يفوتني
also
إن أنا أشكر
to thank
والأشقاء اللي هم
our brothers
على طول منذ بداية الأزمة عرضوا
since the beginning of the
المساندة
crisis who
والمساعدة
offered
في
support and
عملية
assistance
الإنقاذ. أنا بوجه لهم
with
برضه
the rescue
اسم مصر
efforts.
الشكر
In the name of Egypt, I extend thanks to them all for this great stance. And I would always say that so long as there is a will
من أجل البناء والتنمية
for
والتعمير
construction
لازم تكون
development,
النجاح
the success would be
مكتوب
there.
لينا. وده الخط العام اللي مصر بتعمل.
And this is the general line that Egypt is working on, construction, development, and we are talking here about successful navigation in Suez Canal throughout the year, day and night. This is one of the forms of development, not only for ourselves, but for all the countries that are transporting their goods and commodities. And you have seen the high costs incurred by world trade due to this crisis.
I would like as well to thank, to express to the brother countries of the crisis. I would like equally to express my sincere thanks to the brotherly countries. Since the beginning of the crisis, they have shown support to us in rescuing the vessel. I would like, in the name of Egypt and on myself, to express my sincere thanks and appreciation and gratitude for the great stance shown by the other countries, by brotherly and sisterly countries. All over the period of the management of the crisis and over the past period, we were very keen on reconstruction and rebuilding, which eventually ensures our success. This is the ultimate aim and the ultimate goal of Egypt. We have been always keen on a successful navigation along the year. This is also one form of success, not only for us but for the entire world. Through the follow-up on the crisis, you have seen that the world trade has been troubled due to the blockage and the stoppage, the internal blockage and the stoppage that happened in the Suez Canal, which shows you that the successful navigation is a success for everyone.
تفضلي.
Go on. Afternoon, congratulations. I have two questions. The first question about the investigations that would take place to identify why this crisis occurred, what type of things and questions that would be raised, and you start talking to the captain and the two pilots on the ship. The second question, I know to know your feelings when you heard about the crisis and when you learned that it was resolved.
يعني لا نقفز على الأحداث فيما يخص التحقيقات
talk about investigations now and the results of the investigations. I leave this to the Suez Canal Authority and the relevant authorities. Of course, all the questions related to this accident would be under deep investigations by the technicians, so that would know the real reasons behind the accident.
إذا تطلب الأمر، أنا يعني عايزين ما نحملش الأمور أكتر من اللازم. إذا تطلب الأمر ده الأمر مطروق للهيئة.
This is left to the authority to decide upon this, because this is a technical and legal issue. I will not comment.
أكمل بس الإجابة بتاعتها. حضرتك بتقولي الشعور كان إيه؟
You asked me about the feeling.
بدون شك أي أزمة مصر بتتعرض ليها
any crisis that Egypt goes through has
جدا علينا لان دي بلدنا
great
وخايفين علينا.
influence on us because we fear for our country and this facility, the Suez Canal.
وده كان اول كلمه قلتها.
And this was the first thing I said.
قلت له خلي بالك.
I told him beware.
انت والمجموعه اللي يعني تعمل معاك
and your staff
سمعة مصر
that this is the reputation of Egypt.
لأن الدنيا كلها زي ما انتوا شفتوا كده
because the whole world
الدنيا كانت ماشية السنة اللي فاتت ما حدش حس بينا أبدا.
was watching what's going on to happen all over the past years. Everything was going normal, so nobody was talking about Suez Canal. But once this crisis occurred, the main breaking news was the problem in Suez Canal. So I told him without pressurizing him because we need to be balanced in our reaction so that we would not exert pressure on the people who are managing the crisis. I know about the tide and that it is the matter of tide that would resolve the issue and make their efforts successful through dredging on the western and eastern sides to open and let water reach the whole body of the ship. So I then would talk to him for just 1 minute and ask him how are things going on, and he would reassure me there were several scenarios and he talked about them before. So I told him even for the most difficult scenario, let's get ready. The third scenario, dislodging the vessel, was the most difficult scenario. To remove part of the 19 or 18,000 containers on it. The height is 55 meters. And it's steps and docks. But here it is in the middle of the water, so this was not an easy thing. So this was the most difficult scenario, and I told them even for this scenario, let's get ready for it.
مش مهم التكلفة.
Regardless of the cost.
في الأزمة اللي زي كده
أي احتمال
يتم معالجته بتكلفته حتى لو كان بعد كده ما احتاجنوش واللي دفعنا ده أو أنفقنا يعني ما كانش خلاص. would be spent will be needed in the future because what was important for us was to cover all scenarios. I used to talk to him at 5 a.m. to ask him how are things going on until on Monday the 6th day of the crisis. عايز اكلمه لان خلاص بقى ما بقتش قادر يعني عايز اطمن.
By 4:30 I phoned him.
هو كان كلمني الحقيقة وبعدين المهم يعني فكلمته الساعة 5 كده وطمني ان الامور ماشيه.
And he assured me that things are going fine. There was partial refloating.
ثم انتهى بقى باليوم الاثنين ده من احنا الحمد لله.
And then finally he told me that they refloated. Of course I was so happy asking me about my feeling. I was happy. My country is safe again and things are back to normal.
ربنا يكمل بخير. اتفضلي. حاضر. أنا معاكم لغاية لما تسألوا زي ما أنتوا عايزين.
I'm waiting for all your questions, no problem. Don't worry.
There were 2 questions. One question concerning the investigations, and the other question concerning the captain and the investigation with the captain and the 2 pilots. And the second question was on the Mr. President's response to the refloating of the vessel. Mr. President replied, he said that all the investigations are left to the parties concerned, to all the stakeholders, to the authority of the Suez Canal. There are no intervention at all. All the questions raised about the entire incident would be under investigation by the technical people. So this is a technical and a legal aspect, and we have no interference with that. Undoubtedly, I see that you asked me, the first Mr. President said, you asked me about my response. Undoubtedly, I see that the crisis had a great impact on us. This facility is not only of our interest and my own discretion, but to the interest of the entire world. The first word I said to the chairman of the authority, I told him, you must well consider the reputation of Egypt. You have to put it in your own consideration. Last year everything passed well, without any problems. But we see that this year, once the blockage had happened and the vessel had stranded, the entire world eyes were stuck on us. The news, this was the headline, the main headline of all of the news. I asked the chairman what would be how would we solve this problem, and I was fully aware that there were three scenarios. I asked him which one was the most difficult and the toughest scenario. That was the third one. As you know, the vessel carried more than 250,000 tons. Their height is up to 500 meters.
18,000 حاوية 18 هو وزنها 250.
15,000 tons. So the vessel usually embarks at other ports, but fortunately they have cranes to disload the vessel. Now we fully understood that the solution wouldn't be easy, and it wouldn't be neither easy nor easy to dislodge the vessel. But we had to be prepared for all the scenarios, no matter the costs, even if we are unable to recoup the losses in the future. So I had to call him to be in direct contact with the chairman every now and then. Especially, I used to call him at 5 a.m. in the morning. Until the sixth day, at 4:30 in the morning, I was very impatient to receive the news. I was hesitant to call him at this early hour, but eventually I called him at 5 a.m. and he Resmi assured that the vessel was partially dislodged until Monday when the vessel refloated. If you ask me about my response and my feeling, definitely I'm very pleased, I'm delighted. I'm pleased that my country is safe and sound and is going forward.
تفضلي.
صباح الخير فندم.
اهلا وسهلا.
كل سنه وحضرتك طيب في البدايه. عزه مصطفى.
Many happy returns عزه مصطفى from.
سياده الرئيس ما دلاله وجود سيادتك هنا النهارده؟
Significance of your visit to Suez Canal today, and my second question, what is the influence on Suez Canal and its revenues after this crisis? The third question, what do you say to the Egyptians who were all following up what was happening and they were all around that moment? I would like to say that the significance of our visit is to send a clear message to the whole world that everything is back to normal.
امبارح يعني عدينا أكتر من 100.
Yesterday, more than 100 ships have passed, and today 90. So the 400 vessels that were waiting will be able to pass the canal over the next 5 or 6 days.
يعني 3 أيام بالكتير هيكون كل حاجة.
So by 3 days,
تراكمت خلال
everything that has accumulated over these 6 days would have moved and went on their
هنا بس الرسالة اللي احنا بنقولها بوجودنا هنا زي ما تشوف حاجة رجعت زي ما كانت وإن شاء الله أفضل كمان.
and maybe even better.
طيب تأثير ده على
what is the influence
قناة السويس
on Suez Canal and its revenues? I would like to say that no doubt
احنا محتاجين نعمل اجراءات من جانبنا
we need to take procedures and measures on our part,
حصل نقاش كتير
because of course there were a lot of discussions and there was media coverage.
السيناريوهات والمنظرين كثيرين جدا في القنوات سواء كانت جوه مصر او بره مصر، وبالتالي احنا عايزين ندي رساله حاسمه خلال الفتره من خلال الاعلام ومن خلال الاجراءات اللي هنعملها عشان نأكد ان قناه السويس قويه باقيه قادره على تلبيه نقل العالميه النسب دي او اكتر كمان. دي النقطه الثانيه. المصريين انا يعني انا قلت الكلمه دي جوه ما اعرفش وصلت لكم.
I said this when I was inside in the center. I did not know whether you heard it or not. The Egyptians were patient and silent. Patient and silent.
على بلدهم.
They were following everything that was happening in the country, and they were worried about it, and they feared for their country. So when this is because they need to know that God would support them and protect their country.
يعني مش هقول مش متفاجئ ولا حاجة.
I'm not surprised of
بعيد قوي
course.
برد فعلهم، وانتوا شفتوا ساعة لما
And you have seen
أعلن الخبر رد الفعل كان على
once
مواقع التواصل
it
الإجتماعي
was
وعلى وسائل
announced
الإعلام
that they have
لكنها
refloated the
يعني
vessel, how people were glad and how they expressed themselves on social
أنا
media.
بشكرهم.
So I thank
بقول لهم
them
ما
of course
تخافوش،
and tell them don't be
ما
worried,
تخافوش أبدا
never be worried
أبدا على مصر،
about
مش عشان
Egypt,
حد موجود غير قبل كل شيء ربنا،
because
ثم
you
انتوا
need to have faith in God
دي
first,
محفوظة بالله
and then
سبحانه وتعالى،
this country is
ثم
protected by God,
بإرادة ونوايا
and
وحب
next the will, the
المصريين
love
لبلدهم
of the Egyptians
وحرصهم
to
على
their
إن هي
country
تكبر وتنمو
and
وتستقر.
their keenness on stability, progress and
بشكرهم وبقول
development.
لهم
So I thank them of
ربنا
course
ما يحرمني
and
منكم.
tell them may God protect you for me.
اتفضلي. بس انا عايز ادي فرصه اللي احسن يقولوا ان انا منحاز قوي ليكم. طب اتفضلي.
Was a question about the significance of Mr. President's presence here today in the Suez Canal and the impact of the incident on the canal and on the revenue of the canal and the message that could be relayed from His Excellency Mr. President to the Egyptians who were intensely watching the incident over the past week. Mr. President replied that the significance of my presence here today is to send a clear message to the world to tell them that everything is back to normal. Yesterday, about 103 vessels passed through the waterway. Today, around, this is a rough figure, 90 vessels. So we are expecting up to 400 vessels to pass the waterway. Within 3 days, at most, all the backlog will be released and they will move normally within the Suez Canal waterway. So the message that I relay here, that everything is back to normal. With regards to the impact on the Suez Canal, certainly we would take some measures. There have been many debates, many coverage, numerous coverage and debates on the media. However, we have a clear-cut and decisive message that we relay to the media and through the measures that we are taking, that the canal would remain strong and capable to transfer the world trade. With regards to the Egyptians, I said this while we were inside in the salon. I don't know if you heard me or not. I say that the Egyptians are always patient and they remain silent despite all the crises they go through. They have always been keen on the interest of their country and they defend their country with passion. So they must be assured that God will help them and will keep their country. I don't want only to say that I'm only optimistic, but we could see that from the reaction of the staff working on the canal, on the social media, you saw how much they were overwhelmed and delighted and they honked their horns. So I would like to thank them and I would like to tell the Egyptians, don't be afraid, please be assured, because Egypt will go on and will develop and make progress by your willingness, your good intentions, and your love to your country and your keenness on its stability. So may God preserve the Egyptian people.
سيادة الرئيس ندى عبد السلام مراسل CBC عربية في القاهرة. طبعا بعد
Congratulations to you and to all Egyptians. We are always used that there is a future vision, be it through the reform program we started or the new Suez Canal that was launched recently. I would like to ask you, after this crisis, do you take into consideration expanding the entrance of the canal? Would you work on deepening it to be keeping pace with the new generation of the gigantic vessels. It is not just Suez Canal that is important. We're talking about also the economic zone, the volume of investments. Are you satisfied? How many, if you do have a figure? Thank you very much.
طبعا موضوع ان احنا
Of course,
نشوف الآثار بتاعت
for studying the possibility
مش هقول ندرسنا الموضوع ده
of expanding the canal, and maybe the chairman of the Suez Canal Authority talked about this in particular yesterday. He talked about the feasibility of expanding both sides of the canal,
الجانب الجنوبي اللي هو موجود في
especially the southern side of the canal.
لمدة لمدة 10 سنوات ده يمكن يكون
And it was said that for 10 years this might not be economically feasible.
يعني عايز اقول الإجابة بتاعت السؤال
So the answer to the question is that
لكن
we can study this matter, but up till now
هو الإجراءات يعني مش عشان موقف استثنائي.
are not going to take certain procedure for an exception situation. Of course,
بعض الأعطال
there were some
فكانت القناة يعني قناتين فيحصل في قناة
problems that would happen. It might happen in one canal, and then they can do the move in the second canal, and that's why we opened the canal in 2015. As for the southern part where the problem occurred, it's narrower, and this is something that is left to technicians to restudy it once more. You might ask, what are we going to do?
احنا يعني هشرح لكم شوية موضوعات احنا بنعملها.
certain things that we are
وانا
doing.
يمكن قلت برضو الكلام ده جوه، قلت احنا مش هنعمل
that we are not going to do.
نخطط، لا احنا
and we are
عملنا
not planning, we already did.
انا عايز اقول في مينائين دلوقتي.
We have now 2 ports that will be inaugurated, one in Bernice
أشقائنا في مينا جدة
in front of Jeddah port
برصيف 1600 متر
with 1600 length platform, and beside it there would be an airport. So on the Red Sea this port would be inaugurated. For Sokhna we have a project that would be finalized in 2 years.
خلال سنتين هذه المينا هتبقى أكبر
another port in Sokhna, and this would be the biggest port overlooking the Red Sea. We have inaugurated before East Port Said port that would serve the economic zone of Suez Canal on the Mediterranean Sea.
شهر أو شهرين
بالكثير. In 2 months we will inaugurate
جرجوب، وده يبعد عن الحدود اللي بيها
port, and it is 200 kilometers away from the borders of Libya for 1,600 decades and depth, and it would be inaugurated over the coming few weeks. In the meantime, we are developing Damietta port, Alexandria port, and Abu Qir port. These 3 ports in addition to the one we will inaugurate in Gargoub
عبارة عن مجموعة موانئ
will be a group of ports
الأنظمة والمستويات
with the new advanced systems. Abu Qir port will be one of the biggest ports that can receive depth of 22 meters for ships.
طب انت الكلام ده اللي انا قلت عليهم جاهزين؟
These are ready ports.
شارك بورسعيد خلص،
اللي انا بتكلم عليهم ان هم يكونوا جاهزين خلال سنتين. And the ones that will be ready in 2 years is Sokhna, Damietta, Alexandria and Abu Qir.
طب الموضوع كده بس واحنا بنعمل ده.
While we were doing this, you heard of course about
يتحرك من مينا السخنة.
It can move from Sokhna port to El-Alamein or Alexandria of Gargoub in 3 or 4 hours.
قطار سريع.
It would be a fast train with the speed of
250 ممكن يبقى 200 ممكن يبقى 150 كيلو
200 or 450 kilometers, so it would take 2 or 3 hours to cut this distance.
فاللي انا عايز اقوله يبقى احنا ربطنا
المتوسط. So by doing so we have connected the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea through this network of ports as well as the railways.
فده فيما يخص النقطة ديت إعدادنا أو استعدادنا لتلبية التطوير وأيضا حركة التجارة في العالم.
Let's talk now about world trade movement.
اتفضلي.
Question about a future vision, because we have always used to receive to visit. We have always used that the Mr. President brief us on the future visions, especially post the reform program and the post the inauguration of the new canal and the expansion of the canal entrance. The question is, will there be any further expansion in the future and any projects for deepening the canal for the future in order to receive giant vessels and big containers, as well as the size of investments, and if the leadership is pleased with the revenues and the size of investments within the Suez Canal. Mr. President replied that there have been some effects of the crisis, and I discussed with the chairman of the Authority of Suez Canal about the possibility of a new expansion, especially for the southern section of the canal. However, and it might take, to be frank, might take up to 10 years. However, I say that this will be under consideration. It is up to the technical people. We want to take actions or take measures due to extraordinary situations. It's true that we faced some problems in the waterway of the canal and the passage of the vessels. That for that reason we inaugurated the two waterways of the Suez Canal. Eventually, I say that it is left to the discretion of the technical people in order to reconsider the matter. I don't say that we plan or we have plans, but I say we implement. This is our target and this is our goal. So we have two ports. One is Bernice with our brotherly Saudis. It is linked to the Jeddah port. It has 1,600 meter long platform and it overlooks the Red Sea, and there will be an airport there. We have another port in Sokna. The Sokna project will be implemented hopefully within 2 years at maximum. This will be the biggest port overlooking the Red Sea, and we have also East Portside with 6 kilometers long, and this is another port that overlooks the Mediterranean. So within a month or two, we will inaugurate Gargoub port. It is 200 kilometers far from Libya, and it has about similarly 1,600 meter long platform and 18 meter depth. We also are working on the development of the ports of Damietta, Alexandria, and Upper in addition to Gargoub. So this is a group of ports that of advanced ports and which work according to the international standards. Abu Qir would be the largest one. It has a 22-meter draft, and the East Portside had been implemented. So we are in the progress of finishing the projects of El-Sokna, Damietta, and Alexandria and Abu Qir. You have also heard of the TGV, and it will pass from Al-Sokna up to Alamein and Alexandria and Gargoub. It will take the journey within 3 to 4 hours. Its speed is about 350 meters. So we link between the Mediterranean and the Red Sea by a network of ports and a progressive and modern railway. This is my reply to how we are prepared to meet and fulfill the requirements of development and the procedures and the movement of the world trade.
خليني برضو عشان بلان اتكلمت في النقطة دي
تقول also talk about this point. In the meantime there are other areas we are working on and building its capacity like العريش port for example. For العريش port over 2 years we'll finish the project that we have been working on for a long period, but due to what was happening in North Sinai we were not able to finish it quickly.
الجدول الزمني للمشروعات اللي
بنعملها. And it changed the time frame of our project there, but this is another project. العريش port is ready now with a certain capacity. Our project is
المرحلة دي تغطي حتى
to cover up till 2030.
إن إحنا مش بنعمل ده بس عشان
so we are not just doing this for anything else but our country. We are doing this for our country to make it more capable of doing internal trade, and if there is an opportunity for world trade, transportation will be ready. That's why I'm telling you that this is not a matter of what we are going to do. We already did, and there are things that would be open.
القطار السريع
If you would look at the fast train, we're talking about 2 years so that this whole system would be there. Modestly, all things that we're talking about might take 10 to 15 years in other countries and other places. That's why I'm saying that the Egyptians are great. I'm so proud of the Egyptians. The Egyptian companies, their capabilities, all that is done by Egyptian companies. Egyptian engineers, Egyptian workers and technicians. As for the economic zone of Suez Canal, you asked me whether I'm satisfied or not. I'm not easy to satisfy because I want everything to be perfect with the least cost as quickly as possible.
قد يكون بالنسبة للتطور الطبيعي
maybe for the normal development of the economic zone
جيد.
Things might be good because this project started 20 years ago and no real development happened except during the last years because we are working on our projects and we keep following them up until they are finished. So in my estimation we still have a long way to go. We want 100,000 projects in Egypt because we are 100 million Egyptians and we need all people to find job opportunities.
That there are other regions in Egypt that we are working on, and we are working to upgrade their capacities, like El-Arish port. This port will be ready within a year and a half or 2 years at most. As you know, that North Sinai always has a great effect on the schedule of our projects. However, the Arish port is now ready, but with a specific capacity. There is a plan for this port up to 2040. We do this for the sake of our country in order to have a great presence in the internal trade as well as external trade, and to be ready for any future measures and procedures to be taken. I don't say that we will not act or we will not implement, but we have already implemented, and all the projects would come at a row. So with regards to the TGV, it will be accomplished within 2 years. I say it with great modesty. Those projects will take from 10 to 15 years in any other countries. I say this in order to assure the Egyptians, and I would like to tell them that I feel pride and they take pride in the Egyptians and the Egyptian companies, the Egyptian engineers and the Egyptian workers because they are working with their hands. As for the economic zone in the ports, I would say, let's respond to you, I'm a person who is not be easily appeased. I want everything to be very well in the shortest period and with the least costs. But anyway, in average, everything goes well. We have started some projects 20 years ago, and no much progress had been achieved concerning those projects, but we are still working to ensure the completion of those projects and their success. In my own judgment, and I don't want I don't mean at all with my words to be painful to the chairman of the Suez Canal Authority nor to his staff. I say we still have a long way to go. We are 100 million people. We need thousands of projects to be implemented.
خليني أضيف تعليق آخر.
Let me add another comment. I have a recommendation to make to you.
من يومين ثلاثة كنا بنتكلم عن الدلتا الجديدة.
3 days ago we were talking about new delta.
أنا شفت الإعلام بيتناولها
إزاي. And I saw how media talked about new delta. We're talking about 1.5 million fedans. These 1.5 million fedans, thanks to God, in 2 years would be cultivated.
أنا بقول مليون ونص فدان.
1.5 million fedans on الضبعة.
سواء كان شمال أو جنوب.
To the south and to the north of الضبعة. And I saw it in the newspaper.
طب أنتوا عايزين بيانات؟ البيانات موجودة.
As just a short piece of news. If you want detailed information, you will find it on the website, and you can communicate with the line ministries and authorities to provide you with the data and information.
أنا كنت براجع من كام يوم كده.
A few days ago.
وأنا بقول الكلام ده للمصريين يسمعوني فيه. على مثلا السوق
I was reviewing the greenhouses and the production made by these greenhouses for vegetables in Egypt. We're talking about 100,000 tons.
يا دوبك التشغيل اللي تم مش كل السوق.
For some of the greenhouses, and not all greenhouses are operating up to now. So there is an opportunity for exports, okay, and that's why there is a kind of stability in fruit and vegetables. If we're talking about 1.5 million فدان, it's so important to know from where we bring the water for them. We're talking about this area, الضبعة.
يعني المنطقة الغربية.
The western area.
سكانها قليلين.
Where we have few citizens from where the water
عليه وتقولوه وترددوه. احنا مش جايبين ميه، ما خدناش ميه حد. احنا خدنا ميه تاني بقول اللي كانت بتستخدم مرتين او ثلاثه وبناخدها بنعمل لها معالجه ثلاثيه متطوره تخليها صالحه طبقا للمعايير العالميه الصحيه للاستخدام في الزراعه. احنا عملنا الكلام ده حتى الان في 3
We did this up till now in 3 areas. The first in المحسمة 1 million.
وده يوزع 50,000 فدان شرق القناة. المية كانت بتترمي وانا قلت الكلام ده كتير بس انتوا محتاجين تكرروه للناس.
I've said this but you should repeat it to people in a context.
المحسمة كان المية دي بتترمي
المحسمة this water used to be dumped in التمساح ليك to cause pollution. So we took this water
تحت القناة
and it went through tunnels underneath the canal to a treatment plant and now it produces 1 million cubic meters for the 50,000 فدان. Next June بحر البقر treatment plant would be established. This water used to be dumped in المنزلة lake.
في المنزلة. صرف زراعي وصناعي
agricultural industrial waste water. We'll take it also and treat it
على محطة المعالجة
through the treatment plant of بحر البقر. We've been working on this for 2 years. It will be 5.6 million meters. This will go to east the canal and would plant
حوالي 500,000
500,000 فدان east the canal. Why am I saying this? Because you need to talk about it.
وتتكلموا فيه مش عشان يعني تعززوا حد،
not to support anybody, but just to tell people what's happening in their country, to tell people that this country, thanks to God, is moving forward strongly with planning and understanding and implementation as well. Let's go back to الضبع.
طبعا احنا كنا اتكلمنا على مستقبل
For الضبع we talked about the future of Egypt and it is 250,000 fans. So we are talking about water that used to be dumped in الماكس in Alexandria. We'll take this water, treat it about 6 million meters per day. This would be treated to be water that can be used in agriculture and we use it to plant new delta, the future of Egypt with الحمام. Plant 6 million meters per day would be used to plant those 1 million fidans. In addition to the opportunity of the underground water that is used, so I'm talking about 1 million fidans in الضبع, 500,000 fidans in Sinai, 600,000 fidans in Koshta.
انتوا من حقكم ان انتوا تطلبوا مننا انتوا تروحوا تصوروا ده
وتشوفوه. You have the right to ask us to go and take your camera to show that. So we're talking about 2 million fidans in addition to the previous project
شغال يمكن مش بالمعدات
that is underway, not to up to our expectations. We have given the land to the investors and we are following up the work. There is success, but this time we did not do it. It's the state with its companies and the companies of the private sector that are doing everything, and I give the investor the 1,000 fidans with the irrigation, the electricity, so that he can start working.
أنا بكلمك في 2 مليون فدان.
So we're talking about 2 million fidans water
بإعادة صياغة استخدامنا للمية بإنفاق كبير. هو أنت ناسي أو أنتوا ناسيين يا جماعة لما بقول إن إحنا نعمل تبطيل للترع
we are going to save a lot of water. بحر البقر would save 6 million meters of water.
فوق ال 2 مليار متر
so it is more than 2 billion meters of water
6 مليون بتوع محطة الحمام.
The 6 million of الحمام used to be dumped in الماكس for 2 billion meters of water annually. So my doing so I'm maximizing what I have to keep up with overpopulation.
ياخد منك في الجورنان.
So we can talk about this in context. Maybe it would take 1 article or 2 articles to talk about it, or 2 or 3 episodes in a talk show to talk about it. And you can bring the experts and talk about it, and I wish that the experts would read about it well so that they would be able to discuss it.
بس من منظور نظري لا.
Not only theoretically but practically.
فأنا بس عايزكم دي توصيتي لل.
So this is my recommendation to all the media.
أرجو اللي إحنا بنعمله ده.
I wish that what we are doing would be conveyed to people to give them hope.
عشان الثقة بالنفس اللي المصريين هم يثقوا إن هم قادرين بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى إن هم يعملوا تغيير حقيقي للبلد. كملي حضرتك.
I have a recommendation to the media people. 2 days ago there was a debate in the media about the new Delta. I followed the media coverage to this topic. I would like, with regards to the 1.5 million fiddan to be reclaimed. This will be implemented or accomplished within 2 years. Within 2 years you will have 1.5 million fidans, reclaimed 1 million fidans. So along the road of Al-Daba, the southern and the northern part of Al-Daba, it will be fully reclaimed. I read a headline in the newspaper, but as a matter of fact I wasn't very much satisfied with the headline. I would like to tell you, if you need any data, you can refer to the presidential website, or you can also get in contact with the with all the entities that are in charge of the projects in order to receive the data from them. So far, our production of vegetables reach up to 100,000 tons. That's to say 100 million kilos. This is in favor and the interest of the Egyptian people. And if we have a surplus for exports, we would go ahead. So so we are going to reclaim 1.5 million fadans in Al-Daba, which is located in the western part of Egypt and with a low density of population. You would ask where we get the water. I would like to confirm that this is our waters. We didn't take water from anyone else. It is our water that had passed through treatment, and the water was treated up to the international standards for agriculture and reclamations. We have three regions. We have the Mahsama, that was reclaimed with million meters, and we will also reclaim 50,000 fadans east the Canal. And what I would like to say, you can cover these topics and keep talking about these topics, but put them in the right context to the people. There were some pollutions in the waters, and we used to waste millions of cubic meters of waters, but we were able to reuse the water and to build water treatment plants. We have about 5.6 million cubic meter of water in the Bahr al-Bakr plant. This will be the East the Canal. Per day, and it is treated in our water treatment plants. Within 2 years, the project will be implemented. So the total reclamation of the agricultural lands will be 500,000 fadans. This must be monitored and followed up on and to be presented to the people, not only in order to promote somebody or specific people, but this is for the promotion of your own people. This is to prove to the people that their country is moving forward by God's blessings. And this also reflects the determination, the strength and the stamina and the stability of this country and of its people. And we go by our planning and we implement our plans. So I go back to Al-Daba. We have about 250,000 fadans. There we have also some wasted water in Al-Naqsa that reach up to 6 million cubic meters, and this is also will go through some water treatment. So we have here the other projects besides the new delta. We have Al-Hammam station. We have also 6 million cubic meters of water that are wasted and they are reused and they are treated and they will be used for the agriculture. We will reclaim about 1 million fadans here in addition to the underground water that we rely on. So here I'm speaking about 1 million fadan in Al-Daba, 500,000 fadans in Sinai and 600,000 fadans in Tushka. So the total of these fadans is 2 million. 2 million fadans will be ready within 2 or 3 years, in addition to the prior projects that I spoke about. What we have done, in the past we used to invite investors in order to come and invest, but this time we followed up on our projects, but this time we provided them with the facilities, with all the facilities they need and the services that they need, and asked them to launch their work and to proceed with their own projects. So in Bahr al-Bakr station, we will save about 2 billion cubic meters of water, the same for the Al-Hammam station. So now I promoted what I have. I enhanced the facilities that I have in order to face the problem of the population growth. So perhaps you could cover all of these issues and topics in 2 or 3 episodes in your newspaper coverage, and you can, in your talk shows, you can invite technical people who are fully knowledgeable of the specificities and the technicalities of these topics, and they don't come just to tackle theoretically these issues from their own perspectives. So I underscore my recommendation to the media people: kindly clarify and present clearly to the people the reasons for the projects, for the implementation of the projects, in order to give them hope and self-confidence, and to relay the message that we are making a real change.
بس أنا عايز أقول لكم على حاجة من فضلكم، اللي أنا بقول لكم ده مهم
Add something. What I'm saying now is so important.
الفدان اللي انا بتكلم عليه ده عشان نعمله بالشكل ده، الاسلوب ده، ان احنا ناخد ميه نعالجها، نعمل محطات تجيب الميه دي من اماكن منخفضه الى مكان المحطه، سواء في بحر البقر او في منطقه الحمام، المحطتين الكبار اللي انا بتكلم عليهم. انت بتعمل محطات رفع وتعمل لهم محولات كهرباء عشان توصلهم الكهرباء، ثم المياه دي تتعالج وتعالجتها بفلوس، ثم الاراضي اللي هيتم زراعتها يتم اختبارها الاول ويتاكد انها جاهزه للزراعه، ثم تتعمل لها البنيه الاساسيه الخاصه بيها، سواء كانت كهرباء او طرق وداءات او تتم عمل شبكه الري بتاعتها. هنقع على رقم عشان تبقوا مرتاحين ومطمنين وانتوا بتتكلموا، وانا بتكلم هنا وانا مسؤول. الفدان ده يكلف 200,000 جنيه. يكلف كام؟ 200,000 جنيه. يعني مليون فدان يكلفوا كام؟ يعني يكلفوا 200 مليار جنيه. يعني لما اعمل 2 مليار يكلفوني كام؟ 400 مليار جنيه. حد حس؟ مش الناس تعرف منين؟ ومحدش هيقدر يقول الرقم ده الا اذا كان بيقرا بتمعن والملف واضح بالنسبه له، يقول الكهرباء بتاعتها تكلف كده، شبكة المياه تتكلف كده، محطات المعالجة تتكلف كده، محطات الرفع تتكلف كده، الوسائل الري الحديثة تتكلف كده، عشان في النهاية أدخل 2 مليون فدان خلال 2-3 لمصر، مش أنا، إحنا المصريين. فأنتوا أنا قلت توصيتي خلوا الناس تعرف إن بلدهم بلد كبيرة وبلد بفضل الله قادرة، ما يبقاش الكلام يعني خبر في جورنال كده كاتب أنا شفت الملفات اللي كانت بتتعمل زمان على المشروعات بتتغطى بتقارير يومي ورسومات وبيانات دقيقة متاخده من المسؤولين المعنيين بالموضوع. انا عندي سؤالين حسبتهم تقولوهم عشان بس ما نعطلش نفسك كده.
What I say that in order to become what we are, it took us a long way to go. So we had to build treatment plants, energy plants. We had to transfer the water, especially in the stations of Bahr al-Bakr and Al-Hammam, and we had to build energy transformers, and in order to operate the water treatment plants. Then we treated the water. All of this means money, and we had to test the agricultural lands before we reclaim them. We had to provide it with the necessary infrastructure as electricity, roads, and a complete entire grid. So the number of 200,000 I say that it costs us 200,000 pounds per fadan. So the 2 million fadans would cost us 200 billion pounds. 200 billion fadans would cost us 400 billion pounds. Does anybody know about these expenses? Have you ever verified the costs and scrutinized the figures that you receive, and you look around and see how much do we spend in order to accomplish these projects, like the cranes that we use, the treatment plants and energy plants in order to reclaim 2 million fidans for Egypt and for the Egyptians. People must know that the country is a great country and is a capable country, and not only it is totally unbecoming just to see a small headline in a newspaper on one of those giant and great or mega projects. In the past, I have watched and went through some profiles about projects. They were presented by images and specific and accurate and precise data that were taken from the officials in charge. I reiterate once again that you have to check the veracity of the data and the information that you receive to the people.
من فضلك. تفضل.
Go on.
سيادة الرئيس مبروك.
Your Excellency, the President, congratulations.
واحنا بنزرع الامل دلوقتي وبنعلن
from Canal, and as you said, you are trying to raise hope. You reassured Egypt about the Suez Canal, and you reassured the world about its trade. So I think that the message is clear. The second thing, you reassured the Egyptians about their Suez Canal. So let's reassure the Egyptians about their Nile. The last point, I suggest that Suez Canal Authority would receive the economic Nobel Prize or the Nobel Prize for Economics because it's I join you in this opinion if you're talking about an economic authority that has influence on world trade. So I think that what happened over the past 6 days proved that this prize can be awarded to the Suez Canal Authority.
هذا المرفق العظيم يعني. فيما يخص الموضوع اللي احنا بنتكلم فيه اللي هو موضوع المية واللي هو موضوع اللي شاغلني وشاغلكم كلكم.
And this is the topic that preoccupies myself and preoccupies you all. I would like to tell you that negotiations take time. Negotiation is our option.
بدأنا بيه.
This is the option that we started with, and I would like to tell you.
يعني هحفظ كده على حاجة عمري ما كلمت فيها.
And I will speak about something I never talked about.
العمل العدائي قبيح.
The atrocious act is something that is never forgotten by nations, and it is always ugly. So when media talk about our battle is a battle of negotiations, and every day the world public opinion and the officials in countries of the world see that we are serious with the negotiations
الكسب للجميع
in a way that would achieve benefit for everybody, and all what we are asking for is something that is in line with the international laws and the rules in dealing with this cross-border waters. We are working on this, and over the coming few weeks there will be additional negotiations in this context, and we would reach a legal binding agreement regarding the operation of the dam. I would like to tell everybody no one would be able to take just one drop of water from Egypt, and he who wants to try. We are not threatening.
احنا عمرنا ما هددنا.
We've never threatened.
رشيد جدا.
And we always speak wisely.
يعني صبور جدا.
And we are always patient.
ما حدش هيقدر ياخد
But no one will take one drop of water from Egypt. Otherwise there would be instability in the region.
لا يتخيل
and this instability would be unexpected. And no one can think that he would be out of our capabilities. And I'm not threatening anybody. Once more, I would like to say that no one will touch Egypt's water. This is a red line, and in this case, this is something that would destabilize the whole region. Thank you.
آخر سؤال.
The last question.
And you also promote confidence. You assured the world on the trade and the Egyptians on their canals. Now we need to be rest assured about the river Nile, the Nile River. I have also a proposal, if I may propose, that the authority of the Suez Canal be awarded the Nobel Prize for Economy because it risked the world trade. Mr. President, I join your proposal because the Suez Canal had a great impact on the world trade. We would be very much delighted and pleased if this prize would be awarded to this great facility. With regards water, it is the preoccupation of myself and the Egyptians. I always underscore that negotiation is our option, and we have started with this option from the very beginning. Let me say that any hostile action is ugly, and it would have enormous effect that would be extended for years and would be unforgettable by the peoples. Our battle is the negotiation. The key or the senior officials in other countries around the world are watching what is going on with regards to the issue of the Nile River. Now we are gaining more ground by showing and proving our seriousness in negotiations. We are not looking for something that goes beyond the international laws. We are committed to the international laws and norms with regards to the transboundary water. Within weeks, there will be another action with the negotiations, and we shall proceed with further negotiations. I hope we would reach a legal and a binding agreement for the filling and the operation of the dam. No one can take a drop of the Egyptians' waters, and whoever would like to try it, let them try it. I'm not threatening anyone here. Our dialogue is always reasonable, rational, and we are always very patient. No one, I say it once again and I reiterate it, no one can take a drop of water from our waters, from Egypt's waters. If it happens, there will be inconceivable instability in the entire region, and it is not beyond our might. If anyone touches the river Nile or the waters of the Egyptians, they will see our reaction. I'm not threatening again, but our water has to remain intact, and it is a red line. This, if anything reversible happens, it would have a great impact on the stability of the region.
سيادة الرئيس، أولا ألف مبروك. أحمد موسى، قناة صدى البلد. رسائل حضرتك.
Congratulations. Your messages yesterday to the whole world and to the Egyptians regarding Suez Canal were very important. What is your reply to those who try to use what happened in Suez Canal to turn their ships and vessels to other places? Some talked about digging other tunnels, and some people talked about the Cape of Hope. You talked about agriculture. Would you like please to tell us what did you do for the rural areas and for the development of rural areas? Thank you.
الشق الأولاني
For the first part, I would like to say that humanity is developing, and this is not a diplomatic answer, and people have the right to think of their interests. Those who think of digging another canal, they have the right to do so, and we as Suez Canal in Egypt have the right to protect our canal, its efficiency, so that it always be a competitor in the cost of transportation. This is what we're talking about. People might discuss it and we can accept what they say because they are all looking for their interest, no problem with that. But we are also keen on the efficiency of our canal, and that's why we are here today. And if anything needs a certain procedure to be made, we'll make it tomorrow. For the second Suez Canal, if things need more, we can do it. We have the equipment, the machines, the human resources. But we want to teach ourselves.
مش هقول ما نتخضش يعني، لكن عايزين نبقى ايه مقدرين ان الدنيا بتتغير.
To be aware that the world is changing and everybody thinks of his interest. So we think of the priority of Egypt and it is stability and security. Anything else can be resolved. And I'm speaking about agriculture here. I'm talking about 2 or 3 years, and if people can help us and finish it in 1 year, I'm ready. I'm ready with how much? 400 billion. I told you that your country is strong. Nobody knew that before. Thanks to God, we are capable of doing all that and doing everything good. So while doing so, would this influence the 3 years for developing the Egyptian villages? No. This can go in parallel to that project because everything is well organized and planned in an integrated manner. Regarding the Egyptian villages, I was just talking to Dr. Mustafa, the Prime Minister, and I was telling him that if everything we're doing would be through bricks, only red bricks, then people want to be able to see the change. So we want them to paint their houses after we finish the bricks so that you would feel that there is a real change.
احنا بنتكلم على زي ما قلت كده
We're talking about dealing with all the files in parallel and all the facilities and utilities in every village are going to be developed.
احنا مش بنتكلم في صرف صحي.
We're not talking about wastewater only.
ما احنا فرحانين برضو.
We are happy too.
عارف. فحاضر بفضلك. فاللي انا عايز اقوله بالنسبه للريف هنا.
So for the villages we're not talking about wastewater only.
مش بنتكلم في صرف صحي. لا. احنا بنتكلم كل اجهزه الدوله ووزاراتها.
All facilities and all utilities that would be covered by the ministries. The Ministry of Telecommunication, the Ministry of Electricity would upgrade the electricity network. The Ministry of Education would work on schools. The Ministry of Health with the hospitals. So we're talking about infrastructure for half the area of Egypt.
رقم 600 700 زي ما هيجي بقى نص مصر بتعملها. صدقوني التحدي مش ابدا في ان احنا نوفر
التمويل. The challenge is not just in providing the financing for this project but in its implementation. You are lining canals, introducing new irrigation systems, developing the schools, the hospitals.
مش سايب موضوع لوزاره الا ما داخل تخلصه.
So are working on different things together.
تعمله من جديد. او وبالمناسبه بقى لو انا بعمله بره
and if I'm doing it
ما يتعبنيش زي ما انا كده.
outside these villages it could have been easier, because if I'm doing it from scratch it could have been easier. And this would take me back to the train accident that hurted all of us.
كلنا بنوضب بيوتنا احيانا يعني.
We all renovate our homes and some of us might have a new home. Is it easier to buy a new house or to renovate the one that you live in? It is easier, of course, to buy a new one. So the 2,000 kilometers of the new railways that we're talking about, you won't see them except when we inaugurate them. But we're looking today on the old network, the 10,000 kilometers. We're doing them, and in the meantime we still people need to commute on them. You cannot tell them wait for 1 year or 2 years until the project is done. When we come to do that, this will lead, of course, to delay on trains. And you need, of course, to deal with that, because what is the alternative? I'm clarifying this to you to make things clear. The modern systems that we've introduced are capable of securing movement on the railways in light of the current circumstances. What about the other sections? There is the human resource, and a problem might occur. So the systems on these locomotives can, for these areas, secure them greatly with one condition, that they are not neutralized or not decommissioned.
المفروض انه في معدات.
This locomotive that hit the train should have tools on it that would stop it
انا عايز اقول لكم
without any intervention.
انتم كاعلاميين لما
You as media, when you talk about these things, you need to tell people that we have a lot of options, either to stop railways at all, to stop the trains, or relatively there would be delay in the time and the trip time, or leave it as is and endure the losses. So we cannot accept this. We cannot say that we will accept other casualties due to other train accidents. When I finish the project and the trains are delayed, then only you can hold me accountable for that. But before the end of the project, I will have to deal with this. Do you know what would be the cost of transportation in Egypt? More than 100 billion US dollars.
$100 مليار. أنا بقول رقم بيتقال 1500 مليار، يعني تريليون ونص. في كام سنة يا جماعة؟
In how many years?
ده جنب ده جنب ده.
Put this beside that.
احنا حاجة حلوة قوي بفضلك يا رب.
So thank God we are doing great. Thank you very much.
مشاهدينا الكرام، تابعنا مع حضراتكم وقائع المؤتمر الصحفي الذي عقده السيد الرئيس عبد الفتاح السيسي رئيس الجمهورية بحضور عدد من ممثلي وكالات الأنباء المحلية والعالمية.
And serious parties.
But this road, sir, is not easy.
Yes, of course.
To gain political experience and to have positive
and serious parties.
But this road, sir, is not easy.
Yes, of course.
To gain political experience and to have positive
and serious parties.
But this road, sir, is not easy.
Yes, of course.
To gain political experience and to have positive
and serious parties.
But this road, sir, is not easy.
Yes, of course.
To gain political experience and to have positive
and serious parties.
But this road, sir, is not easy.
Yes, of course.
To gain political experience and to have positive
and serious parties.
But this road, sir, is not easy.
Yes, of course.
To gain political experience and to have positive
and serious parties.
But this road, sir, is not easy.
Yes, of course.
To gain political
وواضح نظرا لأن النوايا سليمة، إضافة إلى الاهتمام من قبل المصريين جميعا بالحفاظ على وطنهم، وهو أمر ينبع من داخل المصريين حبا لهذا الوطن. وتحدث سيادته أيضا عن أن هذا الأمر هو شكل من أشكال التنمية، وهو الاهتمام بالدولة والاهتمام أيضا بالمجرى الملاحي من قبل الدولة وأيضا من قبل العاملين بهيئة قناة السويس. تحدث سيادته أيضا في أحد الأسئلة أو في إجابة سيادته على أحد أو إحدى الأسئلة عن أن مصر دائما ما تراهن على وعي المصريين، وأن المصريون كان لهم الدور الأكبر في أمور عدة، وأن سيادته حينما تحدث إليهم وإلى رجال هيئة قناة السويس عن أن هذه سمعة مصر وأنها أمانة بين أيديكم، هذا الأمر الذي حثهم على العمل بجد واجتهاد بشكل أكبر نتيجة إيمان نابع من داخلهم. أيضا تحدث سيادته عن الاحتمالات والسيناريوهات التي كانت مطروحة في هذا الإطار فيما يتعلق بالسفينة الجانحة، وكيف تم اتخاذ القرار في هذا الأزمة أو هذه الأزمة وصولا إلى حلها. كما تحدث السيد الرئيس أيضا عن الموانئ التي سوف يتم افتتاحها في القريب العاجل، وهي الموانئ الجاهزة للافتتاح خلال شهرين تقريبا، وأن هناك ميناءين جاهزين للافتتاح، ميناء برنيس وميناء جغبوب، إضافة إلى تطوير عدد من أرصفة الموانئ المختلفة الموجودة في مصر، وربط هذه الأمور كلها بتطوير موانئ عدة كميناء دمياط أيضا على مستوى متقدم وعالي من التكنولوجيا المتقدمة. تحدث سيادته أيضا عن ميناء جربوب الذي يصل طوله إلى 1600 متر والعمق إلى 18 مترا، وهو أيضا من الموانئ المهمة. كما تحدث السيد الرئيس أيضا عن أن هناك ميناء العريش، ربما هذا الميناء يعني تأثر إلى حد ما بأحداث شمال سيناء، وإن كان يعمل بطاقة ليست الطاقة المرجوة، ولكن هناك يعني برنامج زمني وجداول زمنية معدة لتطوير هذا الميناء، وأيضا التعامل معه بطاقة أكبر تغطي أو تعطي يعني دفعة كبيرة للتعامل مع فكرة تطوير الموانئ في مصر، بل وإنشاء موانئ جديدة. يمثل على ضفة قناة السويس تاريخا كبيرا مع
There is a long history with this canal with all its details.
الجيدة عفوا وأيضا الغير جيدة، حيث شارك في
This canal was dug
كان تعداد السكان لا يزيد
when the population of Egypt was just 4.5 million Egyptians. This canal, dear viewers, Suez Canal has a long and important history, especially the area in which we are now in, and it's called des Enfants, as known by the people of Ismailia. In the year 1896, it was built by Khedive Ismail over the coast in Ismailia Governorate, and it was called Temsah. And in this villa, Eugenie stayed during the inauguration of Suez Canal back then. This place has witnessed a lot of important events, not only celebrating the old Suez Canal, but this place witnessed also the martyrdom of a number of martyrs during the year 1967. And in this place also there is a statue for Abd al-Men'im Riyad, the Egyptian martyr, when he insisted to be among his officers and soldiers and not to leave them. And the will of God was that he would become a martyr while he stood in his place. Also in this place there is one of the most important crossing points between the east and the west, when the Egyptian army was victorious, destroying the slogan that the Israeli army is not to be defeated. We are a place that has the greatness of the Egyptian and their ability to face a lot of things and to face the challenges. Egypt has faced a lot of challenges like this crisis through refloating the vessel that wedged in Suez Canal. The Egyptians are always capable of proving greatly to the whole world their ability to face challenges, and they are able to be one hand during crises. Dear viewers, is important as 10% of the oil supply of the world navigates in addition to 12% of the world trade and 30% of the total containers in the world. This canal that has been operating for more than 150 years was dug by 1 million Egyptians. And the population of the Egyptians back then was just 4.5 million. For the first time, dear viewers, there is this rescue of a vessel with all its containers, no need to dislodge it and without harming the vessel. The President was supporting the efforts of the Suez Canal Authority during this rescue, and the staff received a message from the President that this is the reputation of Egypt in their hands. This vessel took only 6 days to be refloated, and it could have taken months. A challenge they faced to end this crisis of the vessel, and now another challenge to help the other vessels that were waiting in the canal and in the lakes to go again on their journeys. 3 scenarios were put for this crisis. The most difficult one was dislodging the containers on the vessel, and they were 18,000 containers. All the vessels and the ships were confident that the Egyptian authority would be able to solve the crisis. And they waited to go through the Suez Canal that provides the best service and is the cheapest. There were services and especially logistical services that were provided by the authority. to the vessels and ships that stood waiting in the canal. It is expected to hold investigations to identify the reasons of the wedging of the vessel. There might be technical reasons that might be leading to that, and investigations will show all that. This crisis showed the importance of Suez Canal and refuted everything said about the fact that it is no longer as important as before. 422 vessels and ships are waiting now in Suez Canal. None of them thought of going to an alternative route. And this proves confidence in this historical important waterway. For the first time, the two Egyptian locomotives manufactured in Port Said participated in the refloating of the vessel. Speaking about the crisis of the ship that came to an end, last Tuesday Ever Given has wedged in the pathway Suez Canal, and the number of ships waiting were 321 vessels. On Wednesday, they started dredging through a dredger, Mashhur, and it carried 27,000 cubic meters of sand at a depth 17 meters. Last Thursday, they increased the number of locomotives working to 8. And the total became 9. Last Friday, they started trying to move it through pulling and pushing by 9 locomotives. With Izzat Adil locomotive. After the end of the dredging by Mashhur dredger, 2 new ones, Abdel Hamid Yusuf and Mustafa Mahmoud, were introduced, and Port Said 1 and 2, and the 2 Long Live Egypt ones tried to push the ship to the north, and the dredging and pulling efforts went on for 6 days to be able to refloat the vessel. And then the chairman of the Suez Canal Authority announced the end of this crisis on Monday. And the fact that it has moved to the lake area in Kabrit, and as we have seen today on air, that navigation is back to normal in the canal. This kind land would always witness the greatness of Egypt and the Egyptians and their ability to overcome difficulties, challenges they face. The President gave a speech today, and in the press conference he talked about water, saying that Egypt is always extending its hand with good to others. And Egypt always wishes for development for all countries of the world. And Egypt, of course, never threatens, but protecting the River Nile is so important for Egyptians, and this is a red line. And Egypt has its own method in dealing with this file. And Egypt is patient, and its option is negotiations to avoid any conflicts in the region. But His Excellency mentioned that harming the Egyptian water is a red line due to our historical right to this water and due to the importance of this water.